Little story time. So on Twitter, you can make lists of accounts or whatever. And I have a few lists, like I have like an artist one or whatever, because I follow so many accounts. Basically, I follow back anyone who follows me that's not a porn bot. And or a Trump or anti-vax or whatever. Those ones I ban. Um, and then like I'll follow like journalists and stuff like that, and I'll find people that I want to follow or that I want to someday interview. And rather than always try to message them as soon as I find them, I'll add them to a list of like people I want to interview. I had a list called sex workers, which I was adding like porn stars and stuff like that to when I would find them. And I found a bunch of sex worker advocates a couple days ago that I added to this list, and one of them freaked the fuck out and was like, "You're adding us to a government register. You're putting us on the target. We can get arrested and blah 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 blah." And I was like, "But you talk." I didn't say it, but it was like, but you talk about porn and you like list yourself as a sex worker and everything. So it's like, how am I putting a target on your back, but you're not putting a target, but whatever. So I deleted the list and whatever. And this person quote tweeted me, and they have a pretty big following. So I'm getting all their little followers like throwing hate at me, quite a lot of like cussing me out and stuff. And it's like, I I'm not trying to put anyone in danger. That's like the opposite of what I'm trying to represent. I'm trying to raise awareness and normalize sex work and stuff like that. So that's like, obviously I don't want to do that. But I'm just like, I don't know. It hits me hard because it's like that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. But I don't know. It just, you have some thoughts. Yeah. Don't say anything shitty. I already feel shitty. But it's just, I don't know, it just got me. But at the same time, there's a frustration because, as I've lamented many times before, the left eats its own. There's this vitriol, this righteous fury that leftists love to jump into whenever anyone does any perceived infraction, and there's a joy in it that people don't want to recognize of being like, look at this piece of shit! Aren't they a fucking piece of shit? And like the justification that people put to ruin the lives of people, like for a 10-year-old racist joke. Like, yeah, that's, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about like observing it happen to other people. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't make racist jokes, but one, this was 10 years ago, they're probably a totally different person now, and two, the way to help people grow is not to like fucking destroy their lives. It's to be like, hey, you did this thing that's harmful to these people, please don't. Then if they have a career or like they repeatedly keep doing this, then you can be like harsh on them. But it's just, leftists fucking do this all the time. And then we wonder why, the group of leftists, especially like voters and stuff, is so small. And it's because fucking leftists are rabid, and I am a leftist. I am a leftist. Leftists are rabid dogs when it comes to any excuse to like hate on someone. And like, I'm not even allowed to talk about this. Like, I don't, it's only because I'm, not famous that I haven't been canceled yet. And like, canceled is another word that has been completely co-opted by right wingers and like just lost all meaning because everything is canceled now. Any kind of criticism about anything ever is considered canceled. And I've talked a little bit about it in videos with people. And again, it's like something I'm like even hesitant to bring up. But at the same time, like, I gotta stop giving a shit if far left leftists are gonna like crucify me over stuff that I know is not true. If they're like, oh, this fucking bitch is anti-sex worker or whatever, like, that's not true. I've said over and over, like, I'm trying to support sex workers or whatever. I'm sorry if I fuck up. But, like, to immediately jump to, oh, she's this bleepity bleep bleep bleep, like the people replying to the quote tweet are doing, is fucking bullshit. is just, people do it for fun. They tell themselves like, oh, I'm just teaching someone a lesson, but it's like, you're not though. You're just making people not want to engage or learn with or anything with leftist spaces because people are fucking scared of you. They're scared of you screaming, everyone who says anything wrong that's at any point in their entire life of posting online or video, put out of them or whatever, if they ever do any of this never-ending laundry list of things that I find unforgivable, then they're piece of shit that needs to just be destroyed. And it's just like, holy shit. Stop. Just recognize, admit to yourself that you're being that vicious because it feels good, because anger feels good, and giving yourself an excuse to be like, well, it's not that I'm like, going overboard. It's that this person said this racist tweet 10 years ago. So, they shouldn't have we don't want them. We don't care if they, spend 95% of their time trying to advocate for stuff that I believe in. Because of this 5% that I don't like about them, we just have to get rid of them entirely. And one of the creators that immediately comes to mind, I don't even want to say his name because I'm going to get fucking attacked if I do, but I watch his videos sometimes. Huge admit, I watch his videos sometimes. He's an advocate for basically everything I care about. However, he is a white male, which doesn't even narrow it down because there's a million white male leftists out there who all seem to get super fucking famous. And he'll use the R word sometimes. I don't love it. I really dislike it. I don't really know why he does it. He's a little bit of an edgelord, and I don't like that. But at the same time, I'm not gonna fucking discount all the work he does because he does that. And honestly, as much as jarring as it is to hear him say that word, it gives him a way into reaching people who reject far left, everything is a microaggression type leftist, because again, those people are scary. That rigid, you must be exactly what I already think is the perfect, otherwise you should just not exist type of person is driving off a lot of potential allies because they're so, the word I want to say is fascist. I know that's another word that gets thrown around a lot, but because they're so rigid in their demand for what a leftist has to already be, the moment you enter leftist spaces, you have to be this ideal. And that's why we lose every fucking election. And why we lose real world power. Not even lose, never gain real world power, because we want this perfect ideal ally, and guess what? They don't fucking exist. Even the people you already think are perfect activists, I bet there's shit going on with them that you would disagree with. They might not say it, but there's no such thing as a perfect ally, a perfect activist. Perfect is the enemy of good. I think that's the phrase. As long as you're holding out, your support for only perfect allies and rejecting anyone who is doing their best, you're never going to win elections. You're going to lose rights. You're going to, it doesn't matter how much you complain on Twitter and such, which, by the way, is a fucking ecosphere. That's something that I also try to keep in mind. But as long as you are closing yourself off, everything is going to get worse and worse and worse in a real tangible way. So just think about, is it better to be, is it a better use of your time and energy to be fucking vicious online? Or is it better to have an actual real world goal, like protecting transgender rights or getting fucking abortion rights back or whatever? Is that more important? Or is screaming at people online who slightly disagree with you more important? And for the record, I do lots of that myself. I scream it, I make very snarky jokes about Republicans and anti-vaxxers and stuff. My rationalization is that to be an outspoken Republican or anti-vaxxer or whatever, you've already decided to reject all other information. You've decided that that's what you're going to be. But when I see someone say something, problematic, but the rest of their profile shows that they are a leftist or they are, promoting things that I support, I don't fucking attack them. At least I try not to. But anyway, It's almost like they're projecting they can't grow as a person. Perfect is the enemy of getting anything started, little unfinished. Yeah, yeah. And it's just it's unrealistic, and it's the other aspect that I think is very selfish of a lot of these online attack dogs is that there's always going to be a difference between someone who's been online a lot, like an activist or whatever, like me, you know, I'm fucking everywhere on the internet, which is why it's only a matter of time till the people in my personal life that would freak the fuck out if they knew about what I do, it's only a matter of time till they find out, especially as I, you know, gain haters who are going to deliberately dox me. So I might as well enjoy this ride while I can. I don't know what I'm enjoying, but is that people who have a lot of online presence are gonna have shit out there that lots, you know, many people say, including these attack dogs, are also, you know, also say shit like this, but because they're not online all the time, there's not a written record of it, so they can't be thrown under the bus as easily as someone who's online. And again, I know it sounds like I'm like whining about myself, and this has not really happened to me. Like, there's been isolated incidents like the one I just talked about where, you know, I got quote tweeted by a big account that was saying like, you're putting us all in danger, don't project, don't, you know, if you can't be, I don't remember exactly how they put it, but it's like, if you can't be, if you can't protect the safety of sex workers, don't interact with sex workers. And it was like, I'm not trying to put anyone in danger. I deleted the fucking list. Like, originally I changed the name, but then they were like, well, there's still a registry, so I just deleted the list, so I don't know any of these accounts anymore. And like, when I do interviews with people, I'm like, hey, do you want me to blur your face? Do you want me to just do audio only? Do you want to look at the video before I put it online and stuff like that? I always do that. And I've only had 2 people, ironically, they were both cis guys, who wanted their faces blurred. Everyone else has been like, yeah, sure, you know, you can put my identity out there and I trust you, you know, you're editing. And because like when I edit them, I basically just like will take out like bathroom breaks and stuff. But other than that, you know, I'm not doing like deceptive editing or anything like that. So anyway, well, so I don't know if she, but I'm assuming it's she, says that like, don't project on me. I don't say in my bio that I'm a sex worker. And it was like, well, okay. I will say that I was like trying to respond to these people as I'm getting the kids ready to go to school. And also like, this person talks nonstop about sex workers in their tweets. Like, it's not hard to figure out that they're, you know, if not a sex worker, then, you know, they speak about a sex worker or whatever. So it's like, it's not like I'm picking someone who's like never mentioned sex work at all in their profile and being like, this is a sex worker. So I feel like it's disingenuous, but whatever. Say, don't share their names. There's a huge community of workers sharing each other. If you're public, then you're looking for followers and she didn't bother looking at your content at all. Yeah. Well, like, they're saying like, oh, it's an easy register that a government could just look at it and see all these sex workers. It's like, or they could just fucking search Twitter for sex worker. Like, again, and it affects me because it's like, that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help sex workers. So being told, like, you're putting us all in danger, don't talk to sex workers is like, whoa, like, knee-jerk reaction. Well, you know, and as an account gets bigger, with supporters or whatever, it's easy to slip into like, well, I'm so holier than thou. Look at this piece of shit. Hey, all my little minions, go tell this person they're a piece of shit. And I mean, like, not that they're necessarily thinking that way, but that's what happens, and I admit there's times where I'll, like, retweet a fucking anti-vaxxer or whatever and be like, fuck this guy. But, I mean, I don't have millions of followers, so... or tens of thousands of followers, and the followers I do don't fucking interact with the tweets I put out anyway, unless they're, you know, got tits in them, so...